Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing With Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 3, episode 2, and this one will be a two-parter. And I have a very, very special guest, Contrary Cherry, in the house. Yes, her name is Paige, and she is one of my very good friends and reoccurring guests for Vibing With Sleazy. She's been a huge supporter, huge contributor to the show, and I'm very thankful that she's back for season 3. She is someone I mentioned on episode 1 because she has a very, very special podcast going on with our friend from Idaho, Diana, and it's called Lick It Like a Lollipop. And I'm very, very proud of both girls. The reason why is because I just love seeing their journey, like I said in episode 1, and I love seeing how much they grind at it, how passionate they are. And I mean, I'll tell you what, they do not take shit or disrespect. So that's what I really love, that they care about their brand, and they want guests to take it seriously, and they want people to, bring stuff to the show, and I love it. And what I'm also very, very flattered and honored, they invited me to the show. And so I'm very proud of you with how everything's taken off for you, with your brand, with your site, with your reading. I mean, you're everywhere, and I love seeing how you're doing. So welcome to the show again.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here, and I just feel like so much happens in between us seeing one another that there's always like never a dull moment.
No.
There's like so much stuff going on, I think, in the world that you really have to just stay present.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like whenever we're vibing. It's just like a very like engaging conversation.
Yes.
And it's also just something that's like elevating. And there's like funny parts. There's like what the fuck parts. Like There's just a little bit of everything mixed in, and I love that.
Yes, and that's what's so much fun. I mean, literally, I think all 3 times, because the first time I ever met you was when we did the first episode, and then the second episode when you came over, we did like a 30-minute warm-up talk before. We don't even, it's not a warm-up. We just catch up and talk, and then we're like, fuck, we need to start the show. Like, we're already podcasting before the podcast even starts. So, but she stopped by, and we're excited to do a two-parter. And the reason why Paige is great for a two-parter is because not only do we have tons to talk about, and I just want to hear updates from her on her life and her brand, but at the end of the day, I just think a two-parter is something fun for people to look forward to. And it gives them, like, they can queue up for that one. It gives some time. People's lives are busy. People are grinding, doing 2 jobs and shit. I want you to be able to listen to part 1. You take a few days process, and I'm going to hit you with fucking part 2. Bam, 3 days later. And you know what I'm saying?
I know. I love splitting things up because it builds momentum. And that's what we are kind of finding on our podcast now is like, filming things like and not posting them for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's hard because when you have a good episode, like you're like, let's drop it.
Yes.
Like, let's go. So we did drop a lot of bonus episodes, and we did some really long ones. And I just love the energy and the era of podcasts. It's like my literal new favorite thing, like obsession. TV is out, podcasts are in.
Okay.
I don't even watch TV.
That's a new motto. That's a new motto.
Yeah, no, I just think that, like, if you want to start that podcast or you got something to say and you think people will listen, test it.
I have a curious question for you, just to start off. So you brought up TV's dead. Do you think if there was no sports on TV, that TV would officially die out? I wonder if sports does carry it. Or do you think there is a show still carrying TV?
I would say that definitely sports, but then there's still that whole generation that's obsessed.
Are we considered streaming though TV?
We're just talking like TV, like just like I mean, okay, movies. I'm not talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking just like TV.
Yeah.
Watching it, even sitting down and watching movies, or like you might binge watch a show every 3 months. That's me. Like I binge watched that How to Make a Sex Room, and I recommend that to everyone because it's just like the most interesting thing, and it was like aesthetically pleasing. It was really great. So every once in a while I'll find a show, but I'm saying like as far as turning on the TV every day and sitting down and watching something, there's still like 75% of America that's doing that, and for me. Personally, I feel like TV's out. I don't think TV's out at all. I think everyone's brainwashed from TV.
But I think podcast is the hot thing, though. I mean, it's new. It's the new thing. I mean, it's like,
I think there's people that are seeing other people like living their dreams, speaking their truth, and they're like, I need to get in on that.
Oh, I mean, exactly. And I think honesty is key. It's really like showing people's lives. People love to see the behind the scenes. They love to see they want to hear updates. And it's almost like, even if you are just sharing nothing but positive stuff on your podcast, people want to listen because they're like, oh, what are they saying? Like, what's going on? Like that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely, I'm right there with you on that. And I love how many podcasts are out there. There's so many. And then it's just cool as fuck that you all just like with Lick It Like a Lollipop, it's just bam, just started one, and then it's just like it's taken off.
It's really taken off in this season. Like I even asked her, I'm like, how many episodes are in a season? Are we taking a break? She's like, well, on my other podcast, we just went from season 1 to season 2, no break. And I'm like, I think that we should, do that kind of like you did. But Gemini is always like ready to do a million things. And honestly, she's one of the hardest workers that I know. Like,
unbelievable.
Just like it's actually crazy to me. Like I might be very motivating and inspiring to people, but I don't work as hard as she does. She fucking works hard, especially like being a mother and running 2 podcasts, was like entertaining, starting a 3rd one. Like she's wild with it. But I think podcasts give you a form of expression that like you're not getting at other places. Like, you're not getting on social media because the algorithms are only meant to show you things that you're gonna buy. Like I was comparing like last year's views. I had like a screenshot of a story. I used to at least have like 1,200 views on a story on Instagram on a regular Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't even see over 1,000 anymore, and I sure as hell barely break 500. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and 500 would be like a lot at this point on Instagram. For sure. So it's like the algorithms are meant to just sell you something and keep you scrolling, even though you don't like what you see.
I got you.
So podcasts give you like a new energy.
Yeah, and doing podcasts is just fun as shit. Like today, getting to look forward to spending time with you and like doing this tonight. It gives us both something to look forward to do. And every time I'm doing an episode, I'm excited to vibe with that person and hang out with them and, smoke with them, drink with them, whatever. And like, just get everybody kind of in their comfort zone and then record and see where it turns out. I'll be honest, I'm always satisfied with every episode too, because it's just everything's different and I like something different each time. I want to compliment you on something. I like this baseball jersey. I think that's pretty cool. So she's rocking a New York Yankee baseball jersey, and I like the pants and the shoes. So every time Paige comes for a podcast, she brings heat with the fashion. I mean, the first time, her pants were like all flames and stuff, and I was like, man, this is really cool, because I only had really seen her face, and like we just were like DMing, and I'm like, okay, you gotta stop by. And then out of nowhere, I was like, this girl knows fashion. And then you always are bringing the fashion, the sense. So let's talk about that. What motivates you for your fashion? Like, what makes you pick the things that you wear?
So my motivation is to take what I have and make as many combinations with it that you would never see me in like the same exact outfit. Like, obviously I'm going to wear the same pants or a shirt, but I've never ever put the same thing back together. Even if it looked bomb, I just make sure that I get like enough pictures.
Wow. Okay. So
my motivation is like combinations of things I've never worn and trying to get as creative as I can with what's in my closet. And or like, I like to rotate clothes. So once I wear something, a handful of times or get some really great pictures in it, professional pictures or something, I just kind of like over the outfit.
Okay. Completely. So do you ever find a combo that you do duplicate? That you would like? Have you ever found one that you're just like, I gotta wear that again?
Yeah, like I have outfits that will like be my favorite, and like they'll make an imprint. And what I do, I think is like a psychic thing. If I repeat an outfit, it's almost always 1 year to the date, and I'll know because Snapchat will tell me that I wore that same thing a year ago, and it happened literally so recently that I'm like, it's a trend now. That like when I do wear this outfit, not like a certain one, it's happened like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
It's like I'd worn a year ago or 2 years ago today. Wow. So it's like, that's so wild. Yeah. My brain's like, okay, it's been 2 years, it's time. And then I'll end up getting rid of it after that or something.
What always blew my mind, like something similar as like MTV Cribs, when I would watch that, I remember they did Fat Joe's house, and he was like, I rock one pair of shoes And he's like, and I'm done. And then he like had all these shoes like forces. And he just thrown them out after one wear. He might go to the fucking gas station. They're launched. I'm like, all these forces. So, but I think it's cool when people like, wear what they like. And I think what's really cool about your fashion is you're really big on like characters, like graphics, logos. I can tell. Like I've seen like your Sublime and like your Betty Boop and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool that you like to try to rock with even kind of throwback stuff too. So like, are you kind of a vintage person?
Oh yeah, I literally love thrifting. I am all about getting something that like a lot of people don't have. That's what drives me to thrift, is because like I'll go to Las Vegas and we'll go to like the richest Goodwill that we can find.
Smart.
Like they have boutique Goodwills in Vegas and like LA. They're actually owned by the Goodwill, but they're not the Goodwill. It's like it's a boutique. It's called.
Some basic person pulls up. Hey, I want to donate myself. This is boutique Goodwill. Fuck off.
Literally, like the sign doesn't even say Goodwill. It says operated by Goodwill, like on their website. Somehow I got the plug. Normally when I go to
it's
a
got
city,
Goodwill. It's the Goodwill logo. Guy's got to fit it.
It's like they have everything. Like you walk in there and they just have stuff. If that makes sense. Like most Goodwills, you got to dig through stuff and like you may or may not find anything.
Yeah.
So like when I go to other cities, I be finding stuff big time. But like I also love just the thrill of it, like finding something good. And I will be honest, sometimes I get overly excited. And I'm like, like later on, I'll be like, why the fuck did you buy that? Like, that's stupid.
I'm so glad you brought this up. And this is another thing. Because we're vibing and we're going to compliment each other. The thing I also love about podcasting with you and just conversating, every time we start talking about something, the thing that I love, there's not a dead moment. It's like we start into another fucking topic. And so I'm glad you because the other thing that's crazy is I'll say a topic or bring something up and you'll go, holy shit, that just happened recently. Or you'll bring up something. So I know season 1, I did a thrifting episode, talked about selling, doing the eBay stuff. I've taken a break from eBay for a little bit, just been focused on work because work's been going good. But I, for a time being, was doing the Goodwill thing, and I was going to all these different cities and hitting them. And I want to tell you, I found some of the craziest shit in Nashville, Tennessee at Goodwills. So if you get a chance, definitely hit up the Nashville Goodwills as well. There was the coolest thing. For $1.25, I found a Michelangelo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 10-foot tall Pez dispenser. I found all these crazy jerseys, t-shirts, and I know that excitement you're talking about. It is a thrill that people don't understand. It's a high that you can't explain. I can tell you what it feels like to smoke weed. I can tell you what it feels like maybe have a buzz. But that Goodwill high, it's a different.
Because you never know what you're going to find. And one thing I want to point out, it's the times that you go and you're not really like, sometimes I've been in some like crappy Goodwills and then walk out with some fire stuff. And I actually have a really funny Goodwill story about my favorite thing that I ever found. So I was at the Goodwill and I like collect mirrors, but it has to be like an antique heavy mirror, like no plastic, no Hobby Lobby mirror. It has to be like something that's old. So I had this mirror in my cart, and this was back when you could try clothes on. Now they won't let you anymore. So you used to be able to try stuff on at the Goodwill. And, my friend worked there. She told me straight up, like, they wash all of that before it can come out. Like, everything that gets donated gets cleaned or even trashed. Like, there is stuff they won't even, like, actually put out once it's done, right? So basically, I'm in the dressing room.
There's a Goodwill fashion director in the back of every Goodwill. Yeah. It's out. Throw it out. Like that kind of shit.
So I'm in the dressing room and I have some things in my cart. And like, obviously it's a Goodwill. I'm not thinking about like someone taking something out of my cart. So I come out of the Goodwill dressing room and the mirror that was in my cart was gone. The person had paid for it and left the building. They were gone. To the point where the cashiers and the people were like, we don't even remember checking someone out with a mirror. Like, did they even pay for it? So as I'm kind of like expressing that I'm very upset, not like in a mean way or, just like my energy shifted and I was like just devastated. And the lady said, hold on, we have something in the back that was just dropped off like 15 or 20 minutes ago, which would have been around the time I went into the dressing room originally.
What?
She comes out and it is I'll send you a picture of it. It's a full mirror quarter size nightstand with a cabinet and a drawer, not cracked at all, full mirror. Something like this at like Bob's Furniture is $500 for a nightstand. And I put that on money. If it's made with a mirror, any of the mirror furniture, just go look at it sometime. It's the most expensive stuff in the building because it's so hard to ship and keep intact. I put that motherfucker in the passenger of the Camaro. I don't even know how I got it in the car, but I got it for $12.99. And inside of it, when I got home, was like this brand new queen size pillow top bed cover.
Yeah.
I ended up selling that at a yard sale for $10. And so basically I paid $2.50 for something that like was in the back, wasn't even coming out. But since someone stole that mirror while I was did the thing, they were like, oh, we got something for you. And it was like heavenly. So every time I look at that in my house, like as we speak, it's one of my favorite things. It's one thing I'll never sell or get rid of.
Yeah.
And it's just that.
I got three great Goodwill book stories, I gotta tell you. So here's my 3 greatest finds. Dale Earnhardt Ornament Christmas Collection set. I posted on Snapchat as soon as I bought it. I said, somebody's gonna love Dale Earnhardt on eBay. I paid $3 for this ornament. It had like a Dale Earnhardt figure, little car, everything. Fucking guy Snapchats me. $25. I'll give it to you right now. I gotta have that. I fucking drove right to him, fucking 11 minutes from the Goodwill, fucking sold it to him. He said, oh my God, man, today. I was like, look at me blessing people. And then out of nowhere, I go up to the counter at the Dixie Highway Goodwill, and I look in the little counter. They had 1996 Atlanta Olympic pins. Rest in peace, my friend Aaron. He fucking bought those for me. He was a huge collector. He said, I got to have those. So all these things I was finding at Goodwill, these people just like had to find. Then one day, I'm in the little toy section where they just throw random shit on the shelf. I get to digging. I see a little box. It looks like a little coffin. And it's like a real decorated box. It looks almost hand painted. I pop it open. It's a little woman. It's a little old plush woman. And she looks real old. It was from like back in like before the 30s. It was a Martha Washington, like little doll. Sold for $125. George Washington's wife as a little plush. And I was like, holy shit, she's in this box. And I just pulled her out and said, holy shit, I went up $2. They didn't even know the fucking figurine was in there. That's crazy. I found Martha Washington. She made me a lot of George Washingtons.
I have so much to say about this because the difference between you and I is you're buying things within the intention of like you're attracting things with the intention of like, hey, because I believe it's like an art. It's like a manifestation. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to find something fire today, and then you do.
Yeah.
And I feel like for you, your mindset is like, okay, I can make money on this. And my mindset is like, I want this for me. So I don't find as many things because I have seen things that I know for certain were like collector or I could have done something with them. But every time I've done that, it just hasn't worked out. The only time I've ever had good luck with eBay or selling things is when I don't want to sell it. That makes sense. Like something like I've sold more shirts I've made off of my body than I've made like a friend seeing me wear it. And they're like, I want that shirt. And I'm like, $25. And I literally have a tank top underneath and give it to them. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like for you, your manifestation on that is like you're attracting that stuff into your existence. And then like for me, in a way, I'm not attracting things that can be very resold because I don't have that intention.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I think that anyone that is thrifting, that's why when people go there, some people really do just see junk. Like they can't even at any point see something where they think like, oh, I want to make money on that.
Because they can't put it past their head that somebody used it.
Yep.
Before them.
It's a brainwash. It's a program. And that's what I think is so crazy because I heard that the Goodwill is no longer going to do like those 99-cent color specials every day.
Yeah.
That everything's just going to be full price and they raise their prices. And it's like, oh, so you getting paid off free people's stuff isn't enough. And honestly, it actually irks me that when you shop at the Goodwill, they're like, do you want to round up your change and donate? Like I'm not buying stuff that you got for free.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not donating to Goodwill because the other situation is California out there. It's almost higher than TJ Maxx prices at Goodwill. I mean, they are taxing people out there, and because they know people are profit. That's the other thing. Goodwill does not want anyone, as much as they want to say they're helping, as much as they want to say they do this car recycling, they do not want to help the small business or help the person trying to flip or trying to build some side income because they do want to raise prices. They do want to have things higher because they're knowing what people are doing. And they know that they're not having pricing experts that are working at Goodwill. I mean, there's nobody that's like, I'm the Gucci expert. I work at Fern Creek Goodwill. Well, there's 80 other Goodwills. Like, you can't go to every Goodwill.
Yeah, like in some of the bigger cities, they do separate it out into one of like those boutique stores. I've seen that in Florida and in Nevada, and in California. But I feel like right now, like there was so many people that were using that through the pandemic to survive. And I just feel like right now the whole collective matrix moment is like crush the little person.
Yes.
Crush the people that are weaker than me, kill them, get rid of them, whatever it is. And I just think that they're doing that as a way and form of to keep like the capitalist system going.
Oh, for sure.
The more people that are doing things like that, they're breaking the system. That's why like Hollywood is the way it is, because anyone who actually can escape that system, they want to control you other ways. So then when you already have the means to probably get an independent following where you could with a big box label, because they're taking most of your money at the end. So if you just put that work in on the back end, you probably would be well better off in the future. So a lot of the artists or the people in the world don't want to do the fucking work. They want someone to take them to the top. Well, then you've basically not got out of the system. So the whole thing about America is it's like a machine. Yeah. And they need us to oil it. They need us to do this. They need us to
They don't like seeing the little person win. You know, and when the little person wins, that's why a lot of times you see so many people trying to bring that person down, because it's like, oh, this person did get a victory over top. That's why I will say this, like, I think like you do great. I think there's things that I've done great with that we've accomplished. And I feel like me and you are types of people where we spread the positive energy and we do that kind of thing. And we're not about negative shit. We don't like negative people. We don't even like a lot of people's bullshit. But at the end of the day, you bring up a good point, like Hollywood celebrity, YouTube, just all these people that are kind of those type of people that also enjoy the negativity. At the end of the day, it's so easy for them to get caught up in that shit of getting canceled or being hated on, because people want to bring that person down, like that one flaw. And so it's very like, let's take that person down. And I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, we're in a really weird tipping point, and like the more negative everyone thinks, the more that manifests. So honestly, with like the pandemic into like the riots and into all this, we manifested all of it because everyone was so submerged in dark mental health during the pandemic. And like some people, when you turned off the system, they went into overload, whether that was with drugs and alcohol or, you know, dark thoughts or whatever. It was like, for once, there wasn't the come and go, the people in and out, the rebounds, the jobs, the travel, you know what I mean? Like when you start shutting the machine down, there's weak spots all in it. And a lot of it is because mental health is such a problem that's tucked under the rug. And we've been speaking about it a lot, that, you know, we are the generation that's kind of taking the stigma like off of therapy. Like, I go to therapy. We're breaking this. Fuck this curse. Fuck that. I'm not absorbing my parents' bullshit.
That's why I like our generation. I feel like we're not afraid.
We're the Pluto and Scorpio generation.
Yes, and I love when you bring that into it as well, because you're right. That's the stuff. There's a reason. There's a reason why we are the way we are. There's a reason. And people can hate and say, oh, back in my day, it was tough. Fuck all that. At the end of the day, we're 2022. It's where we're at. And this generation where I'm happy with the people that I know, because I like being with people that are passionate and fight for what they want and do those kind of things. And another thing that's like crazy too, that like you bring up with all that, it is kind of a weird thing, because I feel like COVID and like I feel like when that shutdown happened, I kind of viewed it as like almost gladiator Coliseum type, because it's like it was like a huge battle, and then we got through the year, and then you really saw who could come back and fight to the top, or who really struggled. And it was really, it's been a lot going on. Like it's been tough to see people trying to bounce back into, because I feel like you're right, where it's like, it was kind of about, it was like the little man kind of got forgotten about. There was a lot of people like still fighting and trying to struggle, and some people you see that have like overcome and conquered it. So it's just there's a lot of, it is a weird, it's been still past few years been a little weird. It's only
going to get weirder, because honestly, like there's so much energetic bullshit that we absorb that's like just fear-based. It's just all fear. It's really not real, but we're convinced that it is. And I think a lot of that goes into people like, you turn 18 and they're like, well, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Well, here's a $20,000 loan. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And they just ruin your life. Like, they get you in the cycle from the jump. And when I look back on some of the decisions that I made based out of fear or like needing approval or wanting approval, even just from society, it was just like structure. A waste of time.
It's an original structure. Everybody's so original. It's sad too what I see with friends that have. I'm all about friends that want to have the white picket fence, the family, the dog, hey, honey, I'm home. Let's eat our Cheerios. That's great. I'm happy for you. I'm not hating on it. But at the end of the day, it's not me. It's never going to be me. But at the end of the day, I see these friends who never have found that. And I see them settle. I see them, or like, I got to have that. I got to get married, kids. Oh, God, I'm checking my age. Like it's, I swear to God, I have a couple friends like that. And it's panic. And that's them. I'm not going to rewire them. I don't argue with it. I don't even put them down. If that's them, I'm not judging. But I also think to myself, you can't think that way. You got to break out of the box. If you think out of the box a little bit, I'm telling you, life is such a glorious place. I will admit I am structured when it comes to some things where I'm like, hey, I am going to do that. Or, hey, but I make a decision always for Eric. I don't make a decision for anybody else. I don't force anything on anybody. I make it for Eric. But it is crazy how many people you see, like you said, 18, structure life, do this. Okay, I got to do this. Got to work for this time. Got to have it. It's like, have some fun. Cut loose. Because I'm telling you right now, I work with a lot of older people that are 20 years older than me. And that is about, hey, how you doing today? What's going on? Oh, life sucks. It's like, I don't want that. I'm young right now. I'm having fun, living life. I don't want to be that way. So I think people sometimes need to break out of the box, do something wild, and be like, hey, like, look at Johnny over there. He's different today. Oh, he broke out. Like, I'm just saying, that's the way people, I think, should think a lot now lately, because you are right. It is a little weird how I feel like a lot of people are looking for that. Just got to be structured, got to live to 90, retire, got to do that. Like, I get it. I'm all about retiring, but I'm all about, like, you can't just be like a robot.
Yeah, I think we've lost like the real human aspects of the world with technology, because so many people depend on things like outside of themselves constantly for constant stimulation, whether it's porn, whether it's movies, whether it's fucking anything. It doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, video games, like, I could go on. Like, people submerge themselves in work or the relationship aspect of it. And it's like, it doesn't matter what you're distracting yourself with. I don't care. I don't pick sides.
Yeah.
But you're distracting yourself with something. Mm-hmm. And that's why in your younger years, you can really escape it, because there's a lot more to do. The older you get, the more better that you get, and the more complacent and envious and jealous and all the things, because your heart really becomes consumed by your own bullshit, by your own projections, your own fears. And society maybe put those into you or onto you, but you didn't do anything about it. You just sat down and was like, cool, this is my life. They picked it for me.
And I can never do that, because it's all about, to me, is legacy and impact and living in the moment.
What's your zodiac sign?
Libra. I'm a Libra.
A Libra. I feel like you're a Sagittarius, because like the way that you're such a free bird, like in every single time I meet with you, you have a different job. Yeah. Every single time I've ever been around you, you've had a different job.
Because I don't take bullshit.
Yeah,
I get
instantly.
Bored.
Yeah, like instantly. Every single time I've been around you, you have a new job, and then you just like are really set in your ways, and it feels very like fiery energy. Libra is an air sign. But it goes Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. So, you're right there in those signs that are in the end of the year or whatever. But I feel like the energy that we have about our life just rubs off on people. And that's the only thing we can do, is just live by our virtue and just be true to ourselves, because that sets an example. It sets the tone. I think that's why a lot of people are removing themselves or being removed from my life, especially relationships, friendships, people that I thought that would be there long term. Like, I think at the end of the day, the real problem with our society is people are not willing to be uncomfortable. They don't want to break up because then they have to downsize or move back home, or they don't want to release the job because then they, something could happen. Instead of thinking positively, like, you know what, I deserve this, or I'm going to do this, or this is what makes sense for me. People are just so willing to just stay
complacent.
And like in their comfort zone. So they're not in a way pushed or stretched or triggered, or, and I love when people try to trigger me because it shows me either blind spots or where I'm excelling. And I think, I can vent about something, but totally be way above it mentally. Like, you may be getting a little energy out of me, like you got under my skin, but it's more of like a realization moment of like, wow, I don't want to be like that. So let me explain it the way my brain is processing it. And I think, obviously having a public speaking degree, like I was always destined to do this. Like, I just don't know where I lost myself trying to please other people or people please the world. And then now here we are.
And you have such an eccentric voice, and you have a, like we talked about that before the show, you have a unique voice. And like I said, you've made a brand. And the thing that I'm really impressed with you about, because I'm on the same page with you with, everything you're saying. But the thing that I'm really impressed with you about was something that happened to you recently, where you had the social media issue or somebody hacker or fake, whatever. I remember somehow, but just no matter what the situation, we don't have to talk about that. But what was so impressive with you, because I couldn't do it. I would have literally been ready to beat the fuck out of us. Like, I would have been all fired up and pacing this house. I've been like on the patio. I probably would have fucking smoked 500 joints. Like, I would have lost my mind. You were just like, hey, we're gonna keep it fucking moving. And you had like you're all dolled up, you're fucking taking off. I could tell you're in the car, and it was just like, I'll be honest, I was like, that's fucking incredible. Because I didn't say nothing to you about it. I knew you had a lot. I knew it was still on your mind, but I knew at the end of the day, you were being 100%. You're like, I'm keeping it moving. And so after I saw that, I've really, because I'm all the type of person, I'm very big on living life to the fullest. I'm really big on just not changing. Like you said, and I said this on last episode, I want to live for me. But what you showed me with that was that you really got to stay calm, because it's like you had that one negative, but then it's like 3 days later, I'm watching your stuff because I stay up on your stuff clearly. And it's like, you're telling me like, oh, I had 5 positive things happen. And it's like, you're not even talking about that. You might have even deleted the post.
I did. I did. Exactly. I did delete
it. And I was like, I'm not like I said, I do my research. And so I'm like, at the end of the day, I was impressed by that. And I'm going to say, like, I'll be honest, just 90% of people can. Like, you literally did not let it phase you.
You know what? Having my Instagram for my business that matches my website, the same domain, having it hacked and deleted, and it was like indefinitely, you're not getting your Instagram back. I had several people message me, like, I know someone who works for Instagram. They did some digging, and then while they were digging, I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I don't even want the Instagram back. Like, because I had actually, ironically, did a spell the day before that said, in the next 24 hours, I'm going to be on my highest and best timeline. Anything that really isn't for me will be removed in the next 24 hours. And then my Instagram got hacked and deleted. And I was like, this is a sign. And in that same week that happened, I also gained around roughly 5,000 TikTok followers and went up 100K in my likes. Like, went from 1.6 million to 1.7 million. And like, I love the interaction I get on TikTok, because a lot of people have followers versus interaction isn't as high. But I get so much interaction that week I had several videos hit 100K. The same week the Instagram was deleted. And I'm like, why are you worried about crickets over here on Instagram, where you're basically having to beg motherfuckers to look at your shit or pay for them? I mean, I never paid for ads, but going on 2-3 years of an Instagram and
it's
only
an investment though, like of your life.
Your time, and I only had 2,000 followers, but yet on TikTok I gained 5,000 in a week. I was like, Instagram could never. Then another thing that helped me stay calm is every month on my Patreon, the first week of the month, I do a reading for the month, for the group. And, there's like 20-30 people in there. So it is a smaller collective where a lot more things will apply to you than a generalized, this is for the masses collective reading that I do on TikTok or whatever. So in that reading, I said Instagram was dying and that it was dead and that in the next 6 months it was going to be out.
Wow.
And then my Instagram that same week got hacked and deleted. And it was actually a feeling of like relief when it got deleted. That's why once I made that one post kind of like fired up and was like, we're going to keep it moving, you felt the energy. But I honestly was having such a breakthrough moment because I was like, if this happened to you 3 years ago, you would have lost your shit. Then I looked at the bright side that my personal Instagram is fine and it's got way more followers. So I'm like, why weren't you just pouring your energy into that?
And you, and it worked out. And like I said, and that's where I'm saying you proved to me it works out. And you proved to me that patience is key. But I'm glad too, like, that's really cool. You can admit that like 3 years ago, you might have been like, because I'm telling you what, like, seeing that kind of stuff motivates me because it's all about how you like see shit and look at it. And like, it is about time. Like, I did episode 1 a couple nights ago. I hadn't podcasted since March, but I literally felt, I'm so excited about this episode because it's just been a blast already, but it's like at the same time, I just feel like it's really big on, I don't know, just in general, just like focusing on putting your energy in the right things and just not letting anything little bring it down because it really is like it's over before you get it. Like I got frustrated about something at work the other day and I'm thinking back on it like it was like so stupid. The next day it didn't even faze me. So I think it's really big on people really need to just not let little shit bother them anymore. I mean, it's hard to say that, but at the end of the day, it really is. It's become a problem. I mean, people are really letting me eat it.
Yeah, I think that I can just see my own personal growth and like my own personal goals kind of unfold when I just kind of let go and let the universe do things that do trigger me or that maybe, because that taught me something. Like, and now you're saying that you could see it, that I was having like this moment of like clarity, ended up deleting the post because I was like, I'm not giving this any attention. Like, but at the end of the day, I think that we are evolving away from social media as a platform to judge and compare and contrast and like envy celebrities in their life. I think that time of social media is really ending in the next like 3 to 5 years. I think it's really going to turn into like this elevation tool to like spread and channel like information in a higher way. Like whether it's just something you're really good at and you're going to show people how to do it or something that you want to talk about. But I feel like people are finding those passion projects. Like for me with spirituality, like I've done readings for free. Hundreds of them, probably thousands of them, honestly, with all the classes I've done. So it's like at the end of the day, I know I would do it for free. And I trade with people, like I do all the things. Yeah. So it's like at the end of the day, I know my goals are not outside of myself. Because if I'm willing to do something that fulfills me on the inside, that's all that really matters. All social media and all these things is like, look at the pretty picture, look at me and be upset this isn't you. And it's even been confirmed that a lot of these influencers, which I think influence culture is going to be going out the wall because people are going to start thinking for themselves. And a lot of people will say negative things like, oh, that won't happen. Yes, it will. But your timeline will be very different and how you see the world will be very different than the world I'm living in.
It could be a market that monopolizes too, where it just, there's too many influencers. You know, it could happen. I mean,
it's already happening. Yeah. It's already happening. And like these brands that people are so obsessed with, like, a lot of it is just like so bad. It's like, I don't even understand it. But I think a lot of people are going to start picking up more unique ability. The more people that are living their authentic truth and they're like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm going to be me and I'm going to make money off of it. I'm going to do whatever I want to do with it. More people are going to get that fire under them where it's like, wow, I could do that too.
And that's what's going to turn on people.
I have a friend like right now that is like so in his prime to go do one of those like ninja warrior competitions because he's like a little spider monkey, and he does a lot of things where for work, like he's a delivery person, so he always is lifting like 500 pounds, this, 200. And I just told him, I'm like, if you really took like your savings, took off work for like a year, trained, you could go win that $100,000. Like, yeah. I can see it as a psychic that timeline is available to you, but you're not reaching for it. Everybody has these timelines that I can see, but you can't see them sometimes, or like other people don't want to see them because it would push them out of their comfort zone, make them uncomfortable, make them go down to living off $100 a month because they're saving all their money for this to survive through this. Wow. You know, it's kind of like in the winter.
You're right.
I can really see so many people's timelines. Like with Gemini, I saw the timeline where she was using her voice and using this. She didn't have a platform. She didn't have a podcast. She didn't TikTok then. When I gave her that reading, I gave her like all these options, and her soul was like, yes, this is what we want to do. Now that girl does so many segments of everything that she wants to talk about just because now people are listening and she wants to talk about it. And I think that so many people are not willing to like actually grab the bull by its horns because there's a risk there. There's unknowns there.
It's a fear. It's
fear. It's instilled in you to do the 9 to 5 thing. And as great as he is at his 9 to 5, his heart is like out in the world. And it's weird because I met this person on a plane back to Louisville from the West Coast. We had both went on solo trips. He went to Vegas and I went to California, but he was flying out of Vegas because of like a layover or whatever. And we met on the plane. We just, chatting, whatever. Well, then flash forward like 3 years later, I'm in Florida. He sees my Snapchat story. He says, what part of Florida? He's 30 minutes away.
No way.
And me and my mom had drove like 3 hours to go on this boat ride thing and do these things that were like 3 hours away from our house. And on the way back home was his spot that he was at. So we stopped over there and it was his birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was his birthday. So it's like, I told him that. I'm like, there's a reason that we were brought together so I could like inspire you because it's not a romantic thing. It's just like a friend. And I'm like,
it's because you see it in him. You see it in him.
And, he's a lot younger than me, but he doesn't have kids. Like, he could totally do this. And I'm going to be like, gave you a shout out on the podcast anonymously, but you could do the strongman competition, the ninja warrior.
Bro, you can do it.
Literally, like you win like a lot of money. You can train and sign up for 2 or 3
how fucking cool would that be just to say you fucking did it? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. And I love that because I think trying out shit is all about it. I've never been afraid. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. And that's why I've done different platforms, wrote poetry, done rap music, done videos, done little movies, doing podcasts because I want to do it all. It's fun. It's fucking life. Like I said, one day I'm gonna be old as fuck. My back's gonna fucking hurt. I'll be fucking like worrying about shitting on myself or something. At the end of the day, I want to live life to my fucking fullest. I want to have fun, and that's what I do. And like at the end of the day, I am sometimes set in my ways, but I'm also just about. It's like I'm about that too, where I'm pushing people. I'm all about pushing people to like do stuff. There's so many friends that like I've had stories like that, like where I had a friend that literally was like, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. Fucking introduced him to my OVW. And shout out to Dwight. He ended up becoming 2-time television champ. Literally one night we're drinking Fireball. And he said, I want to be a wrestler. I said, come to Ohio. I knew a guy, fucking introduced him. And it is about people you know. But that's another thing I'm really big on. If you do have people you network with or you do build a big network with everybody. Take advantage of it because you never know what someone can bring you opportunity-wise. And that's what podcast has been great as well because the network's been awesome. I got to shout out some of your friends and just followers and collaborators because they do follow the Vibing With Sleezy, and I know they're coming from you. I'm not saying that you're telling them, but it's cool that they will see me interacting with you or they know, and it's like, hey, they're like, I'm gonna give this guy a follow, and so that's definitely brought some listeners. It's brought some new looks and eyes. So I want to just tell you thank you for that as well.
Well, I really appreciate coming on here for the second episode of your new season.
Yeah, I mean, I had to have you. I mean, like I said, it's always a great episode. It's always a great time. So, Lick It Like a Lollipop, I do want to ask you about that. How like, what is the future with that? Do you see? Well, like in your eyes, when someone asks you that question.
So Gemini says she's moving to Kentucky. Her husband's already quit his job, is starting his own entrepreneur business so they can align with the vision of working for yourself and living wherever you want. Who's to say what will actually happen? I don't see myself being in Kentucky forever, but I'll be honest, the cost of living is fine. And here I'm doing a lot better than some other people, and I'm comfortable in my hometown.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely comfortable here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, you move to somewhere else like LA and then you're like super poor. You know what I mean? Like, I like being able to afford what I need. It's not like I'm living on a ranch with all the horses that I would love to have.
I got everything I need. I like it. I just want to eventually see new stuff.
Oh yeah, like people in Kentucky have like really beautiful ranches and farms.
But that's awesome. She's coming too.
Yeah, well, that's what she says. So I would like us to be able to do in person and have a podcast studio with like the art studio and do book signings and music and kind of like just have like a collaborative area where there's an art gallery, there's artists, there's podcasters, people are renting the studio space, people are, you know what I mean? And have like a whole network, like you're talking of artists.
Yeah, you and I talked about this before season 2. Yeah.
I would love to get that going, and I do see that happening. So that, and then the podcast for us, I feel like is going to become like a full-time thing. I think eventually we're going to be having a lot of travel interviews and getting the Airbnbs, setting up the whole kit and caboodle and doing the video. We're really loving the video aspect of like the Zoom meeting, because I know like you record in person, but for us, we are getting guests and clients that live all over the United States. Yeah. Like we had our first guest from Kentucky like 2 nights ago. You know what I mean? Everyone else is from New York and everywhere. So we basically would like to get us in person, her and I, and then still we can do the virtual interview. But we are loving the freedom with it being bi-weekly. We are giving extra content if we want. We have so much content like in the drafts folder right now, just like ready. So we've decided that we're going to do a guest every other episode. So every episode that's us, the next one will be a guest.
That's a great idea.
Because we want it to mainly be like our journey. And most of our guests, it's not like a bunch of just like, who are you? It's kind of like, what do you feel about the patriarchy? Or, you know what I mean? Like, they're like very like just spiritually driven type questions, like, do you get sucked into the matrix like this, or what's your opinion on this kind of thing? So instead of it being mainly just about them, it's more like, what does their brand or who they are represent, and how do they feel? Like, what's your feelings for the world?
That's awesome, because I like that that's like something too people can look forward to, because it's like that's what people want to hear. That especially that are listening to those podcasts and tuning in.
And we're talking like real taboo topics and things that a lot of people wouldn't say in fear of like losing a viewer. And, Gemini is super free spirited and really just like assertive and kind of like how she feels about things. And then I also have a lot of strong opinions that I keep to myself. You know what I mean? So it's nice to kind of be able to air that out and just be like, this is me. And I'm not going to lie, there were some people who I thought were my friends that like I randomly noticed they blocked me on social media and like blocked my number. Like, so I'm thinking the podcast is triggering some people because they're stuck in their unhealthy relationships or connections or even dynamics. And when you think that your situation is like the victim situation, like you see yourself as a victim and someone's telling you out in the air that, hey, you're not a victim, you're actually your own worst enemy and you're holding yourself back. Yeah. They don't want to hear that. So I think that's why people have been like either loving it or hating it.
Yeah, and you two, like I said, you two have been guests on the show. You two are very passionate women. I've got to know you all, and like I said, I love y'all to death. And so I'm glad you all have found each other and been able to collab like that. And also too, like I said, I'm real big on like I've had so many different guests on here that have so many different opinions, and I'll be honest, the thing that I've been shocked about, there's some people that listen to the show that I can't believe listen to the show. And so that's what's really cool that I've learned here recently. But I'm trying to do more international. I got a guy from Norway coming on here this season, my buddy Remy, and then I had the girl from Wales last season, Emma. And so I like doing that aspect because I like hearing about other countries and hearing about what life's going on. And I'm really big on international stuff. I got like a lot of international friends. So I'm hoping to even bring the Germans on and do it that way. But I'm excited about the future of this show. I feel like you, and what I'm thankful for you is like you definitely, the people that follow you and follow your brand, they get to check this brand out. And like, it's all about networking. It's all about connections.
I know. I can't wait to have you on our podcast. Yeah. That's going to be really great. And I do think that for 3 people who really met kind of randomly, because like I've never met her in person and you've never met her in person, but all 3 of us just like vibing. We're in like a group text as well.
This is the 4th time you and I have seen each other, and we literally like are close as fuck.
Yeah, and like every single time it seems like we've known each other forever.
Like it gets deep. Like we're like, hey, what's up, buddy? And it's just this whole like, we got to catch up on like 6 months.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the universe works because, say just for example, for everyone listening, earlier I was talking about like you're manifesting your timeline. So if say I was just on a toxic timeline with like a partner, I would have never been on your show to begin with. So it's like if you can't close the doors that are not for you, you're always blocking the blessings that are.
You were nervous. You were like, who's this guy DM?
Well, I was nervous because at that time, I was like, I don't know this person. They want me to come to their house, and I don't know this person.
Yeah.
And the girl that recommended me, I don't know her either. I don't know any of
these people. And then you were like, thank God Paul Cody was on there. Paul Cody Travelstead. You're like,
and another
shout out
thing,
to Paul Cody.
Weird fam. Another thing is like at the beginning of like my journey, I was kind of brainwashed to think everyone was like toxic or out to get me or just, and that's because I had been around a lot of people who were out to get me. So I think.
And you loved me after that. You were like, this guy's cool as shit. You're
definitely.
Because like I said, you showed up and that was my biggest thing. I was like, I want her to feel comfortable welcoming because I also like know that mindset. I would never want a female to come to my house and be like uncomfortable or like buy you the show and be uncomfortable because I'm like super professional. That's like what's really big on my show. I did one episode, I won't say what episode, it was the most unprofessional shit. Guest was fucked up out of their mind. Luckily the show went well. But like I couldn't stand that. Like it was so disrespectful. And when I had that happen, I also thought about it. I was like, it's a learning experience, and that's where was really big after even that episode happened. I even been more bigger on professionalism on like having beverages, having stuff for people to do, letting them get comfortable. And that's just what my biggest thing is about. Cause that's what I want this show to be about. It was all the whole purpose of the show besides me starting a podcast, which is all about vibing. Just want to vibe with people, have fun. And like people got to get shit off the chest. They need it. And that's where that's what I really love about this show. And so I'm glad that I love the journey that you and I have been on with this podcast because you always bring something. And I've fucking have literally known you, like met you 4 times. And that's what's great. It's just, and you bring it.
When the energy is there with people, like you can just feel it. And that's why like I'm very choosy lately about who has access to me.
Yes.
All together. And I've gotten very comfortable recently with kind of just being like, no, fuck off. Like, no, I'm not dealing with.
Oh, what did I text you?
Energetically.
Like, I texted you literally last week. I said, I kind of like this fired up side of Paige. I said, you're fucking laying the law down, and you were like, and thing about me and you is what I also love is we don't even have to say words or talk. We just hit each other with emojis, and we're like, yeah, that's what he means, that's what she means. And I'm like, yeah, 100. And then like, if we both hit a flame with it, it's like, okay, it's something we're both agreeing on.
Yes, so, yeah.
Yes. So everybody, I want to say thank you to Paige coming on. This is part 1. We're about to do part 2, but you can't hear it yet until you listen to part 1. Actually, I will probably release it a few days after. This one will come out on Thursday, August 11th. I won't release part 2 for a few days because I want people to listen, get caught up. Paige always brings a vibe. She's always a good time. I want to shout out Lick It Like a Lollipop. I want to shout out Contrary Cherry. definitely reach out to Paige for a reading. I'm definitely going to, before I close, I'll let Paige shout out her social medias. But vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com, Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast on Instagram, Facebook. Show love, send messages, send requests. Tell me what I could do better. Tell me what you love. I want to hear it all. And I appreciate everybody that has been reaching out, all the newer people. And, thank you to everybody that tuned in to episode 1. I really was shocked with the number. And I just, a few people that had sent little messages saying welcome back. Like, that makes me feel good. So I appreciate it. And thank you for showing the love. And Paige, I want you to give all your shout outs and thank you again for being on.
Yeah, so you all can find my podcast with my best friend Jim and I on all platforms called Lick It Like a Lollipop. And you can find me at my website, contrarycherryco.com. And on there, you can find my TikTok, my other social medias that I'm using. And you can also find me on Facebook at Contrary Cherry Co. Pretty much Google that and you'll find me. And thank you for having me on.
Yes, for sure. And everybody, part 2 is coming up soon. And like I said, you're probably being like, man, they ended part 1, like what they talked about everything. No, there's definitely more to talk about. So we will hit you soon. Thank you for always listening. Peace.